Hi everyone, I can't see you, but I'll pretend I can see you. When I was 16, I originally planned on going into sexual assault counseling. It became a huge part of my life. I wanted to dedicate myself to that field. I've always been surrounded by survivors, and they've always been a part of who I am. Finally, the summer before my senior year of high school, I discovered photography. And I went through a little bit of guilt with that because I felt like, I know I'm talking to a gallery right now, but I felt like I wasn't going to be as prolific, and I wasn't going to make a difference as much as I wanted to with counseling. But I wound up going into the field of photography, and I was very happy in it for a while. I created a project called 50 Extraordinary Women, and I started highlighting the women in my life who had changed my life or were just important to me. And as I was working on it, my mind went back to the statistics I heard back when I wanted to be a sexual assault counselor about 1 in 3 women. 1 in 3 women were sexually assaulted or would be sexually assaulted in their lifetime. And I remember looking at my 50 Extraordinary Women project and counting all the women I knew in it who had once been abused. And it shook my world a little bit. And finally, in October of this past year, this was the first one I ever photographed. It was the friend who told me in October. This woman is 57 now. Her abuse happened from ages 5 to 15, and she wound up having a very, very tumultuous teenage years. And she finally worked through her abuse when she was about 35, and she's one of the strongest people I know. I know her personally, and she truly proves that you are able to work through it and to get past it. This was also one of the first images I took. I believe this was the 5th. This is my aunt. She was abused by her father from ages 3 to 9. When she finally told her mom, my grandmother, said, "I give you, if he does it again, I give you permission to kill him." And my grandmother believed that it was the alcohol that forced him to abuse. It caused him to abuse, and then he stopped drinking. When my aunt was 12, he began drinking again, and so my grandmother kicked him out, and he stopped drinking for good. And then they found out when my aunt was 17 or 18 that he remarried. He had another daughter. He was completely sober, but he was abusing her. This is one of the most common quotes I hear. And unfortunately, in our society, it can be true. Our society shames survivors. We silence them. We don't believe them. And it's so important for that to change, for people to feel like they have a safe outlet, like that we're going to believe them, or else they'll just hold that secret inside of them for years, if not the rest of their lives. This woman's name is Miley. She's the CEO of an organization called the Joyful Heart Foundation. She contacted me back in February about my work. And we began working together separately on another, on an event that the organization was holding. And I finally photographed her about 3 weeks ago. You have changed my life by being a part of this project and by giving me 15 minutes of your time. And sometimes with my work, I don't see the future after it. I often just meet people and then occasionally they'll email me about it. But seeing the transformation in someone I know personally and seeing her eyes and seeing her gratitude, it makes me, I know that I have to do this for the rest of my life. And I originally wanted to just jumper and be able to say, look at this happens everywhere, this happens to everyone. But what I didn't realize is that there's a healing process through it. And there's a healing process behind standing with those words and being able to say, and I'm getting through it, and I'm working through it. And as difficult as it is to do it, I've found that people will email me months later and thank me